Okay, here are some of the things that you could do to stop debt collectors from harassing you. Number one, they're not allowed to harass you. And if if you've ever received a phone call from a debt collector, I know in my past I've received one, you already know just that the emotions are high, and you could say something, they could say something. I remember when debt collectors were trying to collect from me in the 90s, they were like all over the place. They could say just about anything. CFPB wasn't around at that time. FTC was around. The Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act was around, but it was not um, as consumer friendly as it is right now. As things progress with credit repair, as things progress with dealing with debt collectors, and we had the ability to actually record calls, when cell phones became prevalent in our society, and we were able to record calls and be like, hey, look, I told you this is what they were saying. Just imagine before, when there was landlines, what you going to do, put a tape recorder up to it or some type of recording device? So it wasn't, you youngsters, you have it a lot easier right now, and I admit we got it a lot easier too. But here, let me read something to you, and then I'll tell you about how we apply it and some of the things that we've seen, how we've been able to help clients, some of the outcomes that we've been able to help clients with when they had debt collectors who violated the Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act by, being abusive to them. And I use the term abusive because that's the term that they use in the Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act. But I'm pretty sure when you hear the word abusive, especially if you were raised, when I was raised, my age, 50 and over, abusive was not something that we thought of with words. We thought of abuse as like, somebody hit you or pushed you or, did something to you. Abusive nowadays with the younger generation it could be strictly with words. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but that's considered abuse, the way that people talk to you. So here, Fair Credit Reporting Act, FDCPA, prohibits debt collectors from making certain types of communications, including harassing phone calls. The Telephone Communications Protection Act, TCPA, also applies to debt collector calls, and it governs telemarketing. We always knew that. The TCPA prohibits debt collectors from making repeated or continuous calls to annoy, abuse, or harass you or others who share your phone number. So that would be with a landline if they kept calling. I remember when I was a kid, debt collector called the house, parents say, hey, don't, tell them I'm not here. So they don't usually do that with cell phones because we all keep our own cell phones. And we usually answer our own cell phone. We don't give it to the kid. Hey, answer my cell phone and tell the debt collector that I'm not here. All right. They also prohibit from communicating with you at times and places that are inconvenient for you. So like calling you repeatedly at work. They cannot do that. If the calls don't stop, the debt collector must pay damages of $500 per call and $1,500 per call if willful. So let me tell you what you could say to them over the phone that will get their attention. And it states it right here, actually from the in the Fair Collections Reporting Act. This is what they state. It says 11-word phrase that can stop debt collectors from calling you. It says, please cease and desist all calls and contact with me immediately to stop the harassment. That's what you can use in that. We've used that similar letter. We call it a cease and desist collection activities letter, where we state to stop coming after you for the debt and also stop contacting you by phone, but they are allowed to contact you by mail if they have the information that proves that they can continue coming after you for the debt. Because number one, we don't want to have a cease and desist and then they're going behind your back trying to do a collection on you. So harassing, some of the things that I've heard in the past were, why don't you pay your bills? We called you and we know that you didn't want to answer your phone. We can call your job and get your wages garnished. Why don't? Here's one that happened from a debt collector to people who are of the Arab community. They said that you know that you're not supposed to owe anybody, that you're supposed to pay your debts. I've seen that utilized from really across the board for when they knew that a person was religious. But I've specifically seen it happen from one company. I'm not going to mention them, but it's a major credit card company who uses this tactic against the Arab community a lot. When my client, when he called me, he was like, man, my religion say we can't owe anybody, but I can't pay right now. And I felt I had a lot of pressure when I spoke to the person on the phone. That was one reason why he came to my service, because he was like, I can't talk to them on the phone. They're putting me under pressure where I feel like it's religious pressure rather than just talking about this debt. And he came to our company and we were the middleman doing the talking for him. But they can they can try all types of stuff. And if you don't know your rights, you don't know that they can harass you, that they can't harass you, you might just fly over your head. So what I would suggest that you do, and this is what we suggested that clients do, is that you learn how to record the calls on your phone. If you have two phones, use one to record. If you don't, figure out how to record the calls on your phone, because you're going to need that. Also, something that a lot of people don't know about is that there's a 7 and 7 rule. So harassment could be that they call you 8 times during a week. Now, the 7 and 7 rule states that they can call you 7 times. They're going to call you 1 time per day for 7 days in a row. If they don't get in touch with you, they cannot continue They can't call you more than 7 times throughout the 7 days. And that also goes with contacting you by your email, which they're not allowed to communicate with you through a work email unless you use that work email for personal business. So any contacts, social media, they can contact you through social media, but that's a contact. Phone, that's a contact. Sending something to your social media, phone, email, sending something in the mail, all of those are contacts. All of those are contacts. If they talk to you, that's an engagement. When they talk to you in an engagement, they have to start the whole process over again. But if they talk to you, say in the middle of the week, and they speak to you on day 4, they can't call you for 5, 6, and 7. They have to wait and then call you. Because once they had that engagement, they have to wait a period of time to call you back. And they'll usually wait 1 week, or they might even wait 1 month. So the 7 and 7 is for all. If they don't get you on the phone, they just call you or email you, whatever way, just 7 times. If you keep a record of it, they go over 7, you can submit to them that they're in violation. Now, you can go to the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act to see the violations that they could potentially be making against you. Now, what we've done for our clients, and we just tested with another client where we saw that they had supposedly filed a debt collection lawsuit, but they really didn't, where we're going to submit to have the debt collection company pay the fine, which is $1,000 per violation. We're going to see how that works, and I'll let you know. But what we've done for a lot of our clients is when they have had these issues and we caught them on it, is that we just said the debt, cease all collection, and you will not sell that debt to anybody. And they don't send a 1099-C because they shouldn't even be sending a 1099-C for the whole amount. If anything, send a 1099-C for the 5 cent or the 10 cent or the $1 that you paid for the debt. Send that 1099-C. for debt forgiveness because you didn't loan out that amount of money. So any debt collectors that are doing 1099-Cs for the full amount, I don't even see how they're able to even do that. But they would just cease all collection. They would send an apology letter, and they would not sell the debt. That was the resolutions that we were getting for our clients. And they were okay with that because they're like, hey, they were coming after me for $5,000. Now they're not going to come after me for $5,000. So I'm okay with it. They're okay with that resolution. All right. So if you have any questions or comments, post them under this video. These are some of the things that I want to make you aware of that you got to watch out for when debt collectors are calling you or contacting you. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes a Difference, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you early in the game, grab my statute of limitations letter, debt validation letter, cease and desist collection activities letter. Link is below this video. All the links are below this video in the description. Please subscribe to the channel. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.